What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and wouldn't you know, we've got another big movie in the books. X-Men Apocalypse is in theaters worldwide, I believe, at this moment. And it is the latest in the new run of X-Men movies that started with First Class, moved on to Days of Future Past, and now we are at Apocalypse. So this is the third movie in the series, and quite frankly, a very interesting take on the whole apocalypse story, if you will. So Bryan Singer is back as the director, and we've got the usual suspects: James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, Jennifer Lawrence, Nick Holt as Beast, and then we've got a lot of newcomers as well. So it was an interesting movie. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it was a good movie. It wasn't the train wreck that I was expecting, and it was worth seeing. It could have been a lot better. It could have. There's a lot of things that could have been done better, and I don't know that the amount of time that it took to film, or the length of the movie, did not do justice to what they're trying to accomplish with the apocalypse story and the Four Horsemen of Death and stuff like that. So, in essence, and let me go ahead and obviously state there will be tons of spoilers, so just beware. In essence, they start off the movie with Apocalypse in ancient Egypt. He was betrayed as he's trying to do a transfer of his essence from one decaying body to another. That was how they pretty much set it up for him to live forever, was to have him, be able to transfer bodies, and it's an interesting take, and Apocalypse is supposed to be eternal, if you will, and he didn't look as Ivan Uzi as I was expecting. Still a little cheese, but I don't know. McAvoy and Fassbender, like, honestly, I could watch them do this forever. As far as I'm concerned, they've transitioned very well from Patrick Stewart and who is it? Ian. I can't think of who the other Magneto was, but Ian was Ian. Gandalf. It's easier. Ian McKellen. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It was a great transition, because it was those two nailed the roles as the elder versions of the character in the earlier X-Men trilogy. So now we're at a trilogy here, and while I don't know that it has the same effect, as the first one, we're starting to get into the classic characters that kind of put it all together. So we are introduced to
not cool.
Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, Ty Sheridan as Scott Summers. Lucas Till is back as his brother Alex for a while. Cody Smith McPhee is there as Nightcrawler. Alexander Shipp is Storm. Ben Hardy is Angel. Lana Condor is Jubilee. Olivia Munn is Psylocke. And, there's a few others sprinkled in here and there. But that's the bulk of the mutants that we see in this movie. I know we saw, like, Caliban at one point, very briefly. There might have been, like, the fight that we are introduced to Angel and Nightcrawler, I should say. I think Angel had just fought the Blob. It looked like it could have been the Blob. It would make sense if it was. So that was certainly interesting. Casting, I thought, was pretty good. My biggest fear with Sophie Turner as Jean Grey was what she's going to probably have to live with forever, is that I was looking at Sansa Stark without an accent, you know? And they teased the Phoenix, and I thought it was done right, and it was done well. I don't think it was really a bad thing. Ty Sheridan showed some poise and leadership as Cyclops. I didn't mind him. I think the thing is that this movie really centers around 3 characters stealing the show, and those 3 characters are, Sophie Turner's Jean Grey, at the least extent, but I feel like towards the end of the movie, we really shift to see her kind of come into her own. Magneto, Michael Fassbender, who I had heard like rumors that people thought he mailed it in on this one, and I don't buy that at all. I thought he was at least tied for the best in the movie. And the third, believe it or not, Evan Peters is Quicksilver. Like, it's not a Quicksilver that I felt that Aaron Johnson Taylor, or Aaron Taylor Johnson, I don't know which way it is. I thought his version of Quicksilver was a little bit more accurate, but I mean, Evan Peters' Quicksilver and Michael Fassbender's Magneto, Fassbender, they are, to me, the stars of this movie. I mean, Peters has it easy. He's so fast that, he can slow down time, stuff like that. And, it's just one of those things that they really put him in a good position to do everything. So, yeah, I thought he did a good job. It wasn't a bad movie. I just, I don't know. To me, there was something missing. It wasn't super exciting. It wasn't, it was just there, like, it's like, all right, I'm kind of just watching them go through the motions, and I just saw someone who looked it was well made. It was a well-made movie. Visually, it was good. The story made sense. I didn't really feel like they strayed from the path for many of the characters, which is the most you can hope for, especially from Fox. There was something missing that separates it from, some of the other movies. Like, I rate it higher by a point than I do Batman vs. Superman, because, really Fassbender and Peters steal the show. Like, they are really very good in their roles. It really humanizes Magneto quite a bit, whereas a lot of times we see Magneto as, just an awful, tyrant. We don't really see that human side of him. They show him, it's been 10 years since the last movie, and they kind of show him as a father, as a husband, and he's trying to give the world a chance. And that's overall always the message, of it, of the movies, is to I don't know, just do the Mankind vs. Mutanthood, So I don't know what was missing for me. Like, I don't really, like, Apocalypse didn't feel like worrisome to me, like I just feel like it was a 2-hour, I don't know exactly how long it is, but I felt like it was like a 2-hour movie that really needed an extra hour, and I feel like that's one of the things that I felt, with Batman vs. Superman, is it was supposed to be longer, and some of the things they need to flesh out here, they could have used extra time. Olivia Munn as Psylocke looked the part, but she was utterly useless. Like, she just I don't know. She really didn't like do much for me. Like she looked the part. But I think one of my big issues is they were the four horsemen of Apocalypse, and they just looked like they were four random characters that were given their normal costumes. You know, they didn't really feel like they were the horsemen, you know? Well, Archangel, when he I guess basically becomes Archangel, he kind of did, but like they still didn't go all out with his face, you know? Like make his face blue. He just felt like they were the same people. You know, Psylocke wore a normal costume. You know, as we know, most of the time when I'm hesitating to say all the time just because I haven't read every Horseman story, but you know, generally speaking, when Apocalypse in the comics picks his horsemen, they kind of shift a little bit, kind of like what we saw in the Egyptian era. You know, those characters looked like horsemen, but when Storm, Angel, Psylocke, and Magneto become horsemen, you know, they just look like what they're supposed to look like, you know? They don't look like they represent pestilence, famine, death, and war. So that, to me, just, I don't know, it didn't really work. I mean, yeah, sure, it sets them up for later with their costumes and everything, but, you know, who knows? The movie ends with Xavier and Magneto kind of on good terms and happy with each other, so I don't know how Magneto becomes a tyrant again. I mean, if you think about it, we've seen where this ends up in Days of Future Past. You know, theoretically, they get to the modern day, and all of these characters are just, you know, there. So, you know, obviously at some point, they are going to be enemies again, I would think. After the credit scene might not make sense to a lot of people. But you have to kind of know what Essex Corp is. Essex Corp is basically teasing Mr. Sinister. So we could see Mr. Sinister in the next movie, which would make a lot of sense. So, you know, just all in all, I'm glad we've got some new blood in here. I'm looking forward to what happens next. The last scene that you see during the movie is, you know, the new the new X-Men, Cyclops, Nightcrawler, Storm, Jean Grey, and who else did we see? Somebody else was there with them. I'm blanking, but we see, Quicksilver. And I don't remember if Angel was there or not, but we see all of them, you know, lined up in their comic book styled uniforms, which is great. You know, Jubilee being in the movie was kind of a tease. She really was just there, you know. Jennifer Lawrence, you know, she was Mystique, great. You know, she kind of took a leadership role. I don't like. It seemed like she was going to be a teacher at the academy. Like, something needs to happen in the next movie to drive Magneto and Mystique away from the X-Men. They're not supposed to be good guys, you know? Like, they need to break off and be at odds again with the X-Men. I was a little sad that they kind of killed off Havoc. I mean, it was a poignant part of the movie. I get it. But, you know, he was really growing on me, and, you know, having him out of the universe is, it's a little sad. I really thought Lucas Till was great in this movie, like, while he was there. You know, he was basically, yeah, I don't know. So, basically, the only other scene that we haven't talked about is Wolverine, aka Weapon X, and that scene just seemed completely weird. Like, it was good, it made sense that he escaped the Weapon X program that way. It kind of can allude to an attachment to Jean Grey, but what's the purpose? What's the end game? We know that's where Wolverine came from. You know, you're going to have to cast the new Wolverine moving forward. What's the purpose of bringing Hugh Jackman back and showing him that way? And honestly, showing him looking very old, and then sending him off to... Yeah, does it set up a the last Wolverine movie? Maybe. That's possible. But what are you going to do next? You know, you're going to have to find somebody that looks exactly like Hugh Jackman and hope that he can act and hope that he can, you know, pull off Wolverine. I mean, it's a lofty expectation. You know, I didn't hate the scene, but it just seemed like it was put there so they could say, all right, we got Wolverine in the movie, you know? And it's basically playing off of the end of Days of Future Past when he ended up in the water and Colonel Stryker, or Major Stryker, I think it was at the time, but now Colonel Stryker picked him out of the water. So he's got his metal claws. Jean Grey kind of gave him back some of his memories, and he helped them wipe out the whole facility. So, yeah, I just... It's weird. Like, I feel so indifferent about the movie, but I liked it. I didn't hate it. You know, I left Batman, like, Batman vs. Superman, I left frustrated. Like, I wanted to like it so much more than I did, but, like, it just frustrated me so much. You know, it's just, you know, I just, I don't know. I just don't, I feel like something's missing, and maybe I'm alone. I would love to hear what you guys think. You know, as always, I just, there's something missing for me, you know? I just, I wish that it had that little extra something. It is still a good movie. At the end of the day, I enjoyed the movie. I didn't hate it. I felt like there were things that could have been done better. It seems like it could have used a little bit more time. I would have cut out the Weapon X part altogether and used that time to develop the existing characters. I don't think they spent nearly enough time developing the characters and making us understand. You know, they really relied on you knowing who these characters are. I really don't feel like the Weapon X part of the movie served this movie any purpose other than getting Hugh Jackman in there. But hey guys, I'd love to know what you guys think. That's my review. 7 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you.